Shanghaizzzz. Welcome back to the Sports with Sadaji podcast. What the hell was that, guys? What the hell was that? We had so many expectations that, Ferrari will swing through the low speed corners with high traction of Shanghai and give us a race. And what happens? Max Verstappen into the distance. We are back to regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, I guess you guys know the drill by now. Max won. The other teams tussled for a bit. Lando Norris came Pete out of nowhere. I don't think even Lando Norris expected that. And poor Checo was P3, so sad. Ferrari had kind of a disaster weekend compared to other weekends. Uh, Mercedes being Mercedes.
Except
And
for
I guess,
Lewis getting the P2 in the sprint race, which just came out of nowhere.
yes, the sprint was interesting. Like,
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton,
I think we
what
should
the
talk more about the sprint than the entire race.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, Lewis Hamilton even led for a few laps in the sprint. I think it was more of, Max Verstappen not figuring out the right settings on his car and what have you.
It
And
was no, it's not about figuring out the right settings. It was just giving a chance to Lewis or somebody else, Fernando. Just take a chance to lead the race. I'll just come back later. I have my own. Let me have my own playtime here, overtaking some cars. That's what he wanted.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think, but the sprint, again, Checo's P3, Ferrari 4-5. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton was the only, interesting thing. And I think the only reason he didn't fall down more down was because he was leading in the beginning, so he got a lot of clean air, so Mercedes could finally breathe. Uh, but then
Yeah.
we saw Max was 13 seconds ahead of him in about 19 lap sprint. Uh, he was lapping 6 tenths faster. Well, I think 1.5 second faster or some stupid number like that every lap. But then again, it worked for Lewis because he again had a lot of clean air. So I think
Yeah.
he was able, and it's
And
actually a lot
Fernando
of
was holding up everyone at the back.
exactly, and a lot of battling also happening, right? Checo trying to move to the field,
Ferraris
Lando,
battling each other.
yeah, Ferrari is battling each other, Checo and Alonso and Lando and Oscar. It's all a good fight going on, and Lewis Hamilton had 10 seconds front of him, 5 seconds behind him. The Mercedes finally had some good clean air to race, and so we saw Lewis keep that P2. But then what happened in qualifying? Lewis is out in Q1. Um, you want to talk about that,
On
Aniket?
the on the same day. On the same day. Imagine it's not even a second day. It's like on the same day. The highs and lows of F1 is crazy.
Yeah, but I think apart from that, yeah, Lando somehow came out of nowhere to get P2 ahead of even Checo. But then it's pretty standard after that, right? Checo, the two Ferraris, George Russell P6. I think George Russell is like, I'll be P6 irrespective of who the top five is, right? There can be Lewis
I
Hamilton
think
top five.
Mercedes have a trend P6 and P9 every race.
Yeah, Logan Sargent can be in top five, but I'm going to be P6. Lewis is going to be P9. I think the only,
I want
yeah,
to
go ahead.
raise a petition for
Yeah,
every race to be 20 laps so that I don't need to watch Max Verstappen lead a race for 55 laps. Let him lead 15 laps and then let us end the race. I don't care about the other drivers.
I know, right? By far, the only interesting thing from the race, this from Shanghai Aniket, was Lance Stroll. So, yeah, we started with what? I think lap 19, 20. I think in Bottas, the car just gave the ghost, right?
Hmm.
Um, we first had what, a virtual safety car, and then we had a safety car, and then everybody was slowing down. But poor Lance Stroll, he thought, he forgot that he's F1 driver. And he's like, oh no, the guy in front of you braked. Then you also have to brake, you nit.
It reminds
And
me
what?
of the game some of us have put up played at amusement park, the dashing cars. If all you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
seen
yeah.
it as well. So I think Lance probably thought that he was playing in an amusement park and playing a game or something. So he forgot to brake and just went and accelerated and hit. Who did he hit? I forgot who he hit in front of him.
Ricardo.
Ricardo. So Ricardo, the poor guy, already having insanely bad luck this season, and now he gets hit from behind at full speed by
Well,
Lance Stroll.
I guess the only saving grace for Ricardo was he lasted 7 laps longer than Yuki. So I guess Ricardo should take his victories when he can.
Are we
Um,
counting this as a good Ricardo race then, and he saves his job for a few more races?
yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess he saved his job because okay, let's dive into what's happening at Red Bull, right? Which is basically the more interesting part of this podcast.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Max.
I think we're done. We're done with F1 races. Now we just want to focus on the off paddock
You
or
want the
the off.
gossip, right?
We
We want the
and we
keeping
have
up with the
had a lot of news, man, over the last 2 days.
we want the keeping up with the Kardashians version of F1 now. But yeah, like, the race, Alonso P7, Oscar P8, whatever. Alpine
Yeah.
was P11, but sure, Ocon had a blinder.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, apart from that, so the more interesting thing, uh, okay, let's start. So now one might think that Daniel Ricciardo might not be having a drive next season, and the second RB seed is probably a shoe-in for Liam Lawson. And what does Christian Horner say yesterday? It's not a guarantee that Liam Lawson will have a seat next year at Red Bull or at one of the Red Bull teams. If you ask me, that is ridiculous. And I think Adrian Newey agrees with me.
Is that the reason why Adrian Newey is leaving? It's like Liam Lawson is not getting a seat in F1, and that's why I'm leaving Red Bull.
Yeah, I think not just I think so I think the Lawson decision is just a symptom of what's happening in Red Bull, right? Basically, Christian Horner is I think kind of winning the power struggle, right? And he is imposing his will. We all know Christian Horner is a big fan of Daniel Ricciardo. That's the only reason Ricciardo is in F1 right now. It's because of Christian Horner, right? After the way he drove at Renault and McLaren, what a disaster, especially at McLaren.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
I mean, yeah, sure, Daniel Ricciardo, has a big smile. He's a crowd favorite, but if you look at his on-track performances, especially after he has left Red Bull, he has been a certified disaster, right? Renault pinned his hopes on him. We know where they are now. Uh, McLaren pinned his hopes on him. They literally had to steal Oscar Piastri from Alpine, to get back to semblance of a team, right? So Daniel Ricciardo has not been a good driver. The only reason he's back is because Christian Horner loves him, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's a symptom of what's happening at Red Bull right now. Like Christian Horner is winning the power struggle, and you is like, guys, I'm out.
Yeah.
You right? What do you think, Aniket?
Yeah, so obviously the big news for everyone coming in, watching the stream or watching it later on is Adrian Newey is probably going to leave Red Bull at the end of the season. We got confirmation from, high, I would say prominent news outlets like BBC
Yeah,
Sport and Sky Sports News, and so I think that's more or less done. And in terms of if that is this something we expected, it had come for a while to when the initial Honor news came out with the whole sexual
right.
misconduct and all that. But then it died down for a bit, and then we all thought, okay, Adrian Newey is not going anywhere. But then yesterday there was some rumors, and then suddenly the BBC Sport and Sky Sports and everyone picked it up, and then it does seem now that he is leaving. So it's a big decision in the world of F1. It could finally put an end to the Red Bull dominance from say 2026, or maybe a factor in ending that dominance in 2026. So
Yeah,
that leaves
with your
because you Adrian Newey has now been with Red Bull for 20 seasons. I mean, that's a long, long time. In that 20 seasons, he's I think he's developed like seven title winning cars, if I'm
yeah.
not wrong. So
Yeah, I think Red Bull probably had more, if not for the crap engines they had for a long time, right?
yes,
Especially Renault, it was terrible.
aerodynamically
The
they've
Vettel
probably
era.
been the best cars. I don't know, since a long, long time now. From
Yeah, yeah,
2009 probably they've been the best cars aerodynamically, just that as you said the engines would have probably let them down
yeah. I
some
think
of the
after the
times.
Vettel era and once Mercedes won the 2014 regs, Renault I think basically couldn't develop a good engine at all. We know all
Yes.
know how Renault raced for all those years. The only
Yeah.
reason probably Red Bull even won races was because probably Newey, right, and his
Yep.
aerodynamic um, genius.
Yep. Then now that makes him or will probably make him a hot property in the market, and definitely there are teams out there who we can talk about are definitely looking to, have him in on their on their side, so they could
Yeah.
help them build the title winning car.
And also, what is interesting from the BBC report is that I mean, it was widely thought that Newey has a contract, I think, at least 2025, right? But we have heard that, with the BBC reports that he is trying to negotiate leaving the team end of this year, right? Um, I mean, Newey is a rich guy. He'll probably pay the breakout fee. Probably the new team will pay the breakout fee or whatever. But the other
Yeah,
interesting point is that he is trying, well, reportedly, guys, none of this is actual news, but
yeah,
this is all rumors and speculation and, inside the know, in the know news from BBC. And the BBC says that Adrian Newey is also trying to negotiate uh, Red Bull waiving the 1 year gardening leave that is part of this contract. So, for those who don't know, gardening leave is, a concept in many such, high-end occupations, whether it's, high-tech
yeah,
sports, it's engineering, finance, and all the other, highly paid roles that basically say that if you want to leave, so the company basically says that if you want to leave us and go to a competitor, right, you need to have a 1 year break. It can be any time. Right? It's typically 6 months, 12 months. Finance has a lot of 1 year gardening leaves, for example. They basically say that you need to not work. You can work. Adrian, you could be a DJ at a nightclub in London for all
mm,
you want.
mm,
But gardening says that he cannot work at Red Bull's competitor, and it might not be necessarily restricted to F1. Right? Red Bull competes in a lot of motorsports. And we don't know how the contract is, but they could possibly say that, hey, Adrian, you're a aerodynamic genius, so every motorsport that will have teams hiring you because you're the best aerodynamic genius the world has ever seen in 25 years, we won't let you go, right? You need to wait for a year before you go. And typically also gardening leaves, they also pay you salary for the year, right? It's not like they'll leave you jobless. I mean, they also
yeah,
pay you, right? That shows how important the person is, that they don't want you working anyway for a year, and they'll pay you not to work for a year. But of course, Adrian Newey, he's not getting any younger. He's 65 years. And we long heard that he regretted not working with either Ferrari or with Lewis Hamilton.
yeah.
And what's happening next season, Aniket?
We have a match.
We have a match. Lewis Hamilton will be racing at Ferrari in 2025. So it is possible that Adrian Newey wants to go there, or even otherwise. If you look at F1 right now, right? Any top team would pay top dollar if Newey wants a new challenge, right? There's obviously Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton. There's Aston Martin, who's been investing a lot of money into the team, and
Yeah,
uh,
into young drivers like Fernando Alonso and stuff. So yeah.
yeah. But yeah, Lawrence Stroll really wants. He's probably given up on Lance winning the driver's title, but he probably really wants some driver to get the driver's title, some as in Fernando Alonso, and Aston Martin to win the constructor's title. Um, Aston Martin really showed them in business when they extended Alonso to 2026, right? And if a team can hire Adrian Newey in January 2025, or basically early 2025, or maybe April 2025, because it's April now. Basically, what that means is obviously he won't be a factor in 2025, right? Because teams are designing the 2025 car as we speak. They're
Yep.
iterating, and also the same old regulations. How much will it change, right? Unless Red Bull's cat files get clear, it's not a lot that they're going to do. But remember, 2026 is new regulations, and teams spend at least 12 to 18 months designing the car. And if you get Adrian Newey in March 2025, that gives you 12 months to design a rocket. Design a
Mm.
rocket, right? And we have seen like the engines are good, right? Like Mercedes makes good engines. It's just that a car is total garbage. But you see
Yeah.
McLaren and Martin racing really well. Ferrari is making very good engines for a while now, right? I mean, not just like even from the previous regulations. So 2017, 2018, 2019, Ferrari made excellent engines, right? Obviously, and then with the controversy in 19, they kind of toned it
Yeah.
back down and had terrible engines in 20 and 21. But like in 22, Ferrari had a rocket in 22. Ferrari had a decent engine in 23, just that the aero was off, right? Mercedes is making good engines from a long time now. And obviously, Honda is making good engines. Honda is another supplier next year, and Red Bull Powertrains is going to be a new supplier next year, right? So we have a lot of good engines for 26. So Adrian Newey
But,
probably
hmm,
wants to, add another feather to his glittering career now.
yeah,
Where do you
I
think he's
definitely
going?
think
Aston
definitely
Martin?
think Aston Martin and Ferrari are going to be high on the list for
Yeah,
him. Ferrari looks to be probably the most likeliest destination based off all the rumors that we have currently heard, and all the reports of him going there because of his long time relationship, or not relationship, or long time aspiration to work with Ferrari or Lewis Hamilton. And now that they're
right,
both coming there or joining forces in 2025, if you think about it logically, that does make the most sense for him. And also, in the grand scheme of things, Ferrari is the most lucrative option for him. Ferrari has the money to throw at him at this point. They want to get things right. They're desperate for a championship. It's been
yeah,
almost 18 years, going 18 years after this year, they've not won a championship. So I'm sure they're doing all their, I mean, they're going to do all in their power to try and, poach him away from, say, another team making an offer. So I would
he may
rank
actually
the,
want him all the way from Finland.
yeah, exactly. And so Adrian Newey definitely is going to get, high approaches from Ferrari. Obviously, as you said, Aston Martin going to be there with Alonso at the helm at this point. So you got to
Right,
factor in that team as well. So I do think these are the most likeliest options, unless he suddenly throws a curveball and says, "Oh, I'm going to Mercedes," where to work with Toto Wolff. So if that comes, and that's something we probably would not expect it, because at this
right.
point I haven't heard, or probably nobody has heard of Mercedes making any approach to Newey, and it doesn't make sense for Newey to go there without Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes also anymore from next season. So I think we
And
should expect some.
who is Mercedes aero guy right now? Is it Murphy or who is somebody else?
I'm not sure exactly. I think James Allison is looking at some aspects of the Aero too, and I don't know exactly who the Aero dynamicist is at this point. So
Yeah,
it's it's basically like if Adrian Newey wants to go to Mercedes, I'm sure Toto Wolff will have a place for him somewhere in the team. So it's that basically there's going to be a spot for Adrian Newey in every team in F1. Whenever he wants to leave Red Bull. So now he just has to make the decision, and I would assume that it's going to come soon. I mean, why would you want to delay that decision?
right,
And obviously, the gardening leave aspect is important. It's going to tell us a lot about whether he can start working from next year or the year after. So that's going to be important. And and also Red Bull's case in this, in terms of why would they want to give him that gardening, or take that gardening leave away from Newey, and make him work with another team as quickly as next year. So there are a lot of factors still to be resolved, and
right.
expecting those to be resolved in the coming days or weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think for Mercedes, the only thing that kind of, would make sense is Max Verstappen going to
If my I
Mercedes.
was just gonna, yeah,
So it's basically right, either Toto or Fred is going to assemble the Avengers in 2026. Um, I mean, with Ferrari, it's
yep.
probably going to be more like the sputtering Justice League than the Avengers. But uh, yeah, I mean, this it's a really exciting time off the grid, right? The grid is basically
2024 has given us all the exciting moments, but it's only been off the grid, unfortunately.
right, yeah,
And we are
yeah.
going to expect more with Carlos Sainz and I don't know, Verstappen probably. Who knows?
Yeah. 2024 feels like, 2020 to me. Lewis just basically won every race there is. I mean, Mercedes are basically winning every race. And, 2021, we had a good 21 and 22 was also interesting for a bit before Ferrari did Ferrari things.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, obviously, second half of 2021, it's been just a Red Bull show all
Yeah.
along, right?
So this is what's keeping us sane in the world of F1. These kind of off-track events.
Right. But we are seeing also the driver market, kind of drying up, right? It's like we saw Nico Hulkenberg
Out
signed
of
with
nowhere.
out of nowhere, exactly. Like just today morning in India time, we see like suddenly Haas puts out a press release saying, Nico Hulkenberg will not renew with the team for 2025. And everybody's like, oh, where's he going? Where's he going? Where's he going? 2 hours later. he signed it. Stake F1 team kicks over. Uh, uh,
Yeah, but it's
Hulkenberg,
a very strange decision, I would say, right, Pratyush? Because why would Audi want to hire someone for this journey in F1, in terms of a driver who's been a part of 300 odd races and never been on the podium?
yeah, yeah.
So why would Audi go for that? Just a very strange decision, I would feel. Obviously,
And
kudos to
who
Nico
are they going to
Hulkenberg.
replace? Like, who are they going to replace with Hulkenberg?
So I think Bottas and Zoe are out of contract at the end of this year.
Right.
So I'm assuming Zoe is probably replaced at this point. Maybe Bottas stays on there. So
But
that's my feeling.
is Hulkenberg really an upgrade on Joe Guan? Like, it's not. He's
I
not in
don't
a.
know, like if it's
Not
like
in
a
a bad time.
sponsorship
What is
thingy
it?
that he's, if it's a sponsorship thing that is getting that he's getting to stake a fund that is probably
Yeah.
helping them to sign him or something. So it's a, I mean, as I said, it's a very strange and a weird decision because Hulkenberg has not lit the world on fire, and he's just been like he's been like a midfield driver. So I would assume that, and he's got a multi-year contract as well. So he's basically going to kickstart the new regulations with Audi. So
Yeah.
he's going to be there as the one of the two drivers.
Yeah. I mean, and also like at Haas. I mean, sure, Haas is not the best team, but
Yeah,
he's not. I mean, sure, he's been fine at Haas, but I think part of the reason why he looks good at Haas is because his teammate is Kevin Magnussen, who's even worse.
he's doing
Uh,
nice, correct.
uh, yeah, I think Hulkenberg with a multi-year contract at Sauber, when Audi is making so much noise of being the next big thing, and
Yeah.
yeah, and who do
You
you
would
go
assume
multi?
Audi goes for someone like an Oliver Behrman or something from Ferrari
Yeah,
just to have a young
Carlos,
driver in the ranks.
yeah, exactly. Like Hulkenberg, like how long has Hulkenberg been in F1, man? He's been at what, 15 seasons or something now. Like I've been seeing Hulkenberg in F1 from a long time now.
He's been there. He's been there a while now. So that's. I mean, if you've done 300 races, you probably have been there for more than 12
Exactly.
seasons.
Yeah, I think Hulkenberg has had like the weirdest career. He used to be a back in the four cylinder days. He was very common on the grid. He used to race well, and then nobody took him. And then he started being a super sub out of nowhere. Like he would just, you know, like Saturday afternoon, a driver crashed out in qualifying, and the team were like, "Hey, Hal, come over." He just fly
Exactly.
wherever he's from, he drive the race and just go back home.
I mean, wasn't
Get rid.
Hulkenberg the first choice to replace Michael Schumacher in Mercedes till Lewis Hamilton became available? Wasn't he the first choice? I think that's what I recollect. There was a news
Yeah, but
long
I mean,
time back that
yeah, that
Hulkenberg
was my
was the
thought.
imagine Hulkenberg instead of Lewis Hamilton all those years. Now you imagine Hulkenberg winning an F1 title. It's like a crazy thing to imagine,
Yeah.
right?
But to be fair, in 2012, Hulkenberg's stock was much higher than what it is today.
It was. It was. That's why Mercedes were considering him for 2014, and he was their
Yeah,
first
yeah,
choice till Lewis became available.
yeah. But it's just that I mean, after that, his career is kind of sputtered and started. He really did never got a good drive. He was then out of F1 for a couple of seasons, and then I mean, he's been fine at Haas, but then you really don't expect a team like Audi, who's kind of making all this noise about um, or maybe maybe Audi realized they can't get a driver like Carlos Sainz or whoever it is, and maybe they just want to sign somebody who is available. Hulkenberg is not bad. He's certainly better than Logan Sargent or Kevin Magnussen, right? Um,
He is, and he's also German, so maybe that's also important.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. And it feels like time is running out for Carlos Sainz, man. Like if Audi just renews with Bottas and they have Hulk now, and if they just renew with Bottas or Joe,
I I can't imagine Audi renewing Bottas for 2 seasons. I don't envisage that.
no,
So
but you need the renew Bottas just for 2025, right?
I don't
Where
envision Bottas staying there for 2026 at least. So maybe he is there for 2025, and then
yeah.
I
No,
don't
what I'm
know.
saying is,
Yeah,
if Bottas, suppose he stays at Audi in 2025, right? Where does Carlos Sainz go? Ferrari is full, Aston Martin is full, McLaren is full. Red Bull is probably full if Checo keeps driving the way he is.
yeah. Yeah.
and the only place left is Mercedes.
Mercedes. Who do they even
So
want him?
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Toto seems to be really intent on Kimi Antonelli or Max Verstappen if you can pull that blind out of nowhere. But yeah, it really feels bad for Carlos Sainz, right? Like
Yeah, it does.
the only race winner in the last in 2023 and 2024, he's the only race winner apart from Max Verstappen.
And imagine your options to drive an F1 has come down to Sauber and Haas. That's the worst possible
Yeah,
driver. I don't know, driver constructor combination, I
and
would say.
Mercedes, which is not
I
a
mean,
very attractive.
Mercedes, say, assume Mercedes has decided, oh, Kimi Anthony is the guy. Now
Yeah,
Carlos has Haas and Sauber to decide between his teams. That's going to be so unfortunate.
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, we did, last week, the last time we spoke here, and the preview for Shanghai, we, um, not Joss, what's the guy's name? Helmut Marko, uh, told us that, Science has an offer from Audi, but Audi is not very patient, right? They want a decision like this, right? And if Science has been delaying that decision because, I don't know, he thinks that Red Bull or Mercedes will come knocking, uh, well, half of Sauber is already gone. Nico Hulkenberg
Yeah.
of all has taken a seat. Imagine if Nico Hulkenberg races next year and not Carlos Sainz.
Oh, oh, and that's a cruel world to live in. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
What if Carlos Sainz is the backup driver in Ferrari? Would he accept that role in case there's no other team he can go to?
Oh my God, Ferrari's test driver is Carlos.
Best driver. Oh,
Or imagine, oh my God, it pains me to even say this, but if Carlos Sainz ends the season ahead of Charles Leclerc, does Ferrari make an about turn and say, hey, Leclerc, we're only paying you money, we're only paying you stupid money every year. Be a test driver for a season. We're going to hire Carlos Sainz to partner Lewis Hamilton for a year.
yeah. Or Ferrari magically gets approved to run three cars next season. Because their drivers are so good now, F1 has to, FIA, please give them three cars to drive.
Yeah. I just approve Andretti, man. We'll have some more chaos then.
Yeah, we need a
Or I
Ferrari
don't know,
B team.
maybe we see Carlos Sainz at Alpine.
Yeah, I just hope for Carlos's sake he gets a good drive and we see him, top
Yeah,
at the top next season as well. Because the time is running out, as you said. There's gonna be a fewer and fewer options
right.
as soon as we go to the European calendar.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right.
Yeah.
I guess that's about it. We'll see you guys. Yeah, I think next week is Miami.
Yep. Yeah.
Unless there's some interesting off the paddock news, I think we'll see you guys after Miami. Because okay, just quick update for everybody. I don't think any teams are expecting any upgrades in Miami. The first round of upgrades are going to be at Imola, which is after Miami. We're going to see Mercedes. We're
I
going to see.
Mercedes are bringing a round of upgrades to Miami. A new
Oh,
floor
at Miami,
apparently.
I thought it's Imola
Yes.
for Mercedes.
Miami, they're gonna like they prepone their update kind of thing, so they're
Oh,
gonna
really?
get a new floor and stuff. So let's see if
Oh,
that
okay.
helps them with their performance.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, apart from Mercedes, a lot of teams are targeting Imola for upgrades. So we might just see Max Verstappen P1, George Russell P6, and Lewis Hamilton P9 again.
That's the trend, right? It's the Hamilton Bottas was tapping from all those years
Exactly.
back. Except that where
Everybody else,
Hamilton and Russell are out of the
everybody
podium.
around them changes. Everybody around them changes, but 1, 6, and 9 are set in stone. But
Yep,
even when Verstappen crashed out and Sainz won the race, I think Mercedes were like 5 and 9 or 6 and 9, right? Like they don't change.
exactly. They don't. Somehow magically they just end up there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. I'm sure like maybe we'll let's see based on our time and commitments. We'll try to do a Miami preview and see if there's any other news before
yeah.
next week,
Yeah, hopefully
before the
Red Bull
race.
goes up the next week and we'll have some interesting news to go.
Yeah, if we get some more Honor news, definitely we'll be here to break it
Yeah,
down. If we get
Yep.
honor to Ferrari, we'll do an entire Ferrari tribute, or sorry, entire Fred Vasseur show, just to devote, just to heap some praise on the legendary
All
Italian
right.
James Bond.
Yeah.
So yeah,
See, basically, Ferrari needs a Frenchman. It was Jean Todt the last time. It's Fred Vasseur this time.
Fred. Oh, okay, I forgot he was French. Yeah, French, Mr. French, James Bond.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Ferrari needs a French guy.
yep. So let's see
All
if that
right.
happens. But
Yeah.
till then, yeah, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it along.
Yeah. We'll see you next time. See you, folks.